Okay, so for my last video here in Jakarta, Indonesia, I wanted to do something cool. So the Elite Showcase asked me to choose a car at the event, kind of like Dino's choice. And basically I ended up choosing an FD, which I thought I really liked because it was simple, it looked cool, it had really nice wheels. Later on, I found out the car actually had a four-rotor NA 26B, and it was built by XS Engineering, and they've actually given me the chance to take the car out today, go for a drive in it, and kind of experience a four-rotor, one of many builds that they've done. They have another four-rotor down there, which we'll take a look at. If you recall, this is not my first visit here at XS. I visited the shop here last year when I first came to Jakarta, and basically I just wanted to kind of revisit and have a look at what they're working on these days. And before we go inside and talk to Victor about the FD build, I thought we should probably have a little wander around the shop here and kind of see what is around. You'll see a lot of cars from the Elite show, which were dropped off late last night after the show ended. We have the FD here that we're going to take out in a bit. Next to it is this insane R35 build. I say insane because when you prop open the engine here, I'm not sure if it's open now, it is, we'll see an alpha full build here, so it's 1,000+ horsepower at the wheels. This is insane. We're not going to take this out this time around, but just to give you an idea of the caliber of builds that XS does. Right here we have Victor's R8, another 35, lots of Evos. So what XS does is basically they build cars for pretty much any discipline. They do rally, they do off-road, they do drifting, they do track work. So you know, that's why you're seeing so much variety here. There's an R34 here in the build, EG from the show, another EG getting finished up. This particular Evo 5 is actually going to, or is that a 4? Is actually going to be fitted with a drag spec engine that Victor is putting together here. They have so many engines in the engine build room here being put together. Tons of 4G63s. And then we go over to the rest of the cars here. NSXR, one of their drift Silvias. Tons of Evos for rallying. This FD is actually one that we saw at the Tema collection last year. It's powered by an LS. Pretty insane. No cutting corners in Indonesia. They go full out. This is the other four-rotor that we actually turned on last time I was here. This car was just about to get mapped, but then they had an issue with the transmission housing cracking, so they had to abort, park the car here until they drop the engine transmission and see what exactly happened. This is one crazy beast, so loud. And apparently similar engine to the one that we're going to be driving today, except the other one has even higher compression. And we'll head out there where some of the off-road cars have just come back from an event that was held a couple of weeks ago. XS has actually got a second building out here where a lot of the engine work and other stuff gets done. They're actually opening up a second shop in the Pick 2 area. which is all built on reclaimed land. They're going to have an engine dyno there, paint booth, and even a CNC machine coming, so they can start making their own billet parts. So this is the Jeep pickup that has just come back from competition, and it's powered by a 4G63. Half tubes chassis, king dampers all the way around. If you recall, they do some crazy off-roads here. This one's actually running a VR38 engine swap, and then as we progress, we see the rest of the customer cars waiting for work to be done. But as I mentioned, today is not really about a shop tour. We've already seen and kind of talked to Victor about his business when we visited last year, and today is all about that FD. We're going to take the car out. It'll be my first experience driving an FD with a four-rotor, and it'll be a ton of fun, I would imagine, but I'm kind of scared about the traffic. We'll see how we get on with that. But before we do that, let's sit down with Victor and just kind of go through what the build was all about, what the customer wanted to achieve, and how difficult it is to kind of take a four-rotor and kind of make it like a viable street car. So let's go inside and chat to Victor. So while we wait for Victor to arrive, I'm gonna have another peek at this top secret R33 that's in the build here. It's got an RB26 built by HKS, number 16, step 2, RB28. And this is a chassis that's been built by Top Secret originally. And if you recall, it even has my little signature there, as well as Smokey Nagata's signature somewhere. So XS is one of the bigger shops here in Jakarta, and they do cater to a ton of different stuff, basically bringing in the best products from around the world and kind of putting together some of the craziest builds that I've seen in Indonesia. That's what I like to hear. So we're gonna gently warm up the engine first before we take it out. That sounds incredible. Remix. Lovely. Wow. Wait, there's a really cool thing I need to see in this 35. That Motec dash is so sick. Wow. It almost sounds a bit sedate compared to the four-rotor, even though it's got 1,000+ horsepower. All right, so I'm sitting here with Victor.
Hi.
Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for coming.
This is my second visit to your shop.
Yes,
and I always need to come to your shop when I visit.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
And just basically, I just want to know what you guys kind of did with this FD build, because it's quite interesting to me, because it looks almost like a stock car from the outside.
Yes.
But once you pop the hood, it's craziness.
Well, we built this for a customer. Basically, what he wants is a clean-looking, kind of a classic FD look.
Yeah.
But with a modernized engine rather than a 13B. The 13B in Indonesia it runs hot because of the turbocharging engine and all that stuff. So we opted the four-rotor NA to kind of make sure the engine is modernized in a way that is new, is something new. So we got the engine from PPRE. Engine and gearbox combination with the Haltech ECU. We opted the Haltech ECU, injector dynamics, injectors. Fuel system is built in-house. All the cross member, the subframe, everything else is built in-house.
So did you kind of like restore the car before the build?
We restore the car,
right.
Full paint, interior-wise. The interior, even the interior still looks stock.
Yeah.
But other than that, even the arms, we upgraded. We reinforced the chassis. It still uses the stock fuel tank because everything we want to keep it as street as possible, but with a four-rotor engine in it. So it runs the Haltech ECU. It still runs the stock dash and everything else. Make sure everything else is functioning right. We're doing an electric AC on it, electric power steering, just to keep up with the technology and all that stuff. But it should be a good. Basically, what the owner wants is a fun street car. It's with a four-rotor.
One with a very interesting soundtrack.
Yes.
So the gearbox you're saying is a sequential.
It's a 6-speed Quave sequential. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And you're still kind of in the midst of setting the car up, the settings of these.
Yes. We dyno tune the car up to about 7,000 RPM because it only has about 200-300 kilometers on the odometer on that engine.
Yeah.
So after a few weeks of a month use, then we'll dyno it all the way up to about 9,500.
That's the red line.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, they were saying it can go up to 11, but I don't think we're going to push it that much.
Yeah.
We'll probably do about 9,500.
Are you expecting any specific power level or?
Right now, at 7,500, the car is on a mainline dyno is about 390 wheel horsepower and about 370 foot-pounds of torque.
Wow. Okay.
So we're expecting over 400.
Yeah.
I think that's what the with the pump gas. We may use our race gas, but we'll see.
Well, right now you're doing like 10% premix, right?
10% premix, yeah. And then, but we're still using a pump gas, 98 octane.
Yeah.
So we may use our VP race fuels, but we'll see. We'll see how big of a difference it can make. But right now, that's what it is right now. It's about.
And for the handling and braking, what did you guys go for?
Braking, we use the AP Racing brakes. Handling, we do a custom arms, front and rear, sway bars. But other than that, it's still stock FD.
It's wild. Well, I look forward to taking it out on the street.
Yes. Let me know
finding out
how the
myself.
car drives and stuff like that. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for having us.
Thank you.
Lending the car.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. All right, so after talking to Victor and getting a little bit of a lowdown on the build, it's my turn to jump behind the wheel and take the car out to pick area because we are trying to basically get away from traffic a little bit so I can actually get on it at least once. I just need to feel that engine up to the mapped 6,000 RPM that these guys have achieved during the run-in. I'm going to be very conscious that this engine is brand new, still 200 kilometers on the odometer. I'm not going to go crazy on it, but definitely want to feel that response, motorcycle-like response of a four-rotor, and just basically enjoy it.
This is seriously loud. I have no idea if you guys can hear me. Don't complain that I'm not wearing a belt. There is no belt. So we'll just have to take it easy. But yeah, no aircon. Extremely intimidated to even sit in it with this thing idling. Just listen. Oh my god.
show you guys my perspective from driving this FD. Water temperature is just under 100. We're still stuck in traffic. And I have no idea how far the highway entrance is. But just listen to this response. So this is a PPRE 26B, so four-rotor, 2.6 liter NA, and you can just see the girth of the water lines going into the radiator, just how much cooling these engines need. And even with everything taken care of, it just doesn't like sitting in traffic. You can really feel the heat from the manifolds and the transmission come up. So we brought the car out to pick 2 because this is the most wide open area we have in Jakarta. And since we're close by, minus the traffic of course, it just made sense to bring the car here and not be stuck next to a road with tons of little scooters zooming by. Just to kind of admire the fact that the owner just went for a really clean build. You know, aside from that vented hood, everything else is just stock. And this is there because it really, really needs it. As much cooling as possible, obviously. But the car sits on CE28 SLs. and runs some endless brakes up front, stock rear calipers at the back. So I was sitting on these Recaro carbon Kevlar seats, buckets, fixed back, perfectly accommodating for the larger gentleman. A little button pad there, and simple as it gets basically. Let's take a look from the passenger side. Simple FD cabin. Plastics are still in pretty good condition. That's one of the failing things about these cars, is always the kind of cheaper quality of plastics that tend to deteriorate over time, but this car's been kept so well. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this little short video talking about this car. It's my Speed Hunter's choice from the Elite Showdown show, and it just makes it so special that I actually get to drive the car that I picked from the event. It's just a little final treat from my trip here to Indonesia, and what a way to end the coverage from this amazing part of the world. Indonesia really does car culture very well. The attention to detail, the kind of sought after parts that everybody kind of shoots to go for. There's really, you know, a lot of tuners that are pushing the envelope. They're really trying to educate themselves with what is happening around the world, you know, starting from Japan and the States and Europe, and just getting ideas and then kind of implementing those ideas in their own little fashion or different ways to kind of get these unique builds happening. And it just, it makes for cars like these, what an experience. Hope you enjoyed it. Check back soon for more.